Bet. And you should be quiet. Let me be quiet.
Domino's Tracker now has GPS.
What's good, everybody? What's good? It's Big Game James, Silver and Blue Nation. I was playing that. I put a new song in there. That stuff was rocking. My homeboy sent me that nice little mellow song because he used to be an R&B singer back in the day. So he sent me that nice mellow beat. You feel me? I didn't want to come off of it, boss. I was just listening to it like, damn, that beat is good. I'm going to let it rock a little longer. But what's up, everybody? Big Game James, Silver and Blue Nation. YouTube, I got my dog, Boss Hog, Boss Cowboy.
What's up, man?
Been 9 months, dog. I looked on my Skype and said 9 months. Been 9 months since we did it. 9 months, but that's okay. We still been talking.
9 months too long, bro.
9 months too damn long. But what's good, dog? Talk to me. How you been doing, man?
Man, like I say, 9 months too long, and that's not gonna happen again. It been doing good, man. Just obviously we're in the off season, and off season is actually our busiest period, believe it or not. Because I'm pretty sure you agree with me that when the season comes, it's kind of, you know who the players are.
Mm-hmm.
It's not that many changes until the trade deadline.
Mm-hmm.
It's basically kind of managing what we got, right?
Pretty much.
But now it's action time, So Cowboy fans this is the time to tune in because this is when everything really pops off.
Mm-hmm. It definitely gonna pop off, and there's a lot of stuff that's gonna be popping off soon. We should know this, and that's why we're on here because the pop off. A lot of things going on in the Cowboy world should be happening. We're frustrated, but the main thing we're talking about today, and then we'll jump into the Cowboys news. You got a little something going on over there, dog. You said you was in hiatus, you was in the underground, you was in the laboratory doing all kind of cooking up stuff. Dog, what you done cooked up over there, man?
Yeah, man. I actually just came out with the Boss Cowboy Dallas Cowboy off-season guide, and it is for anybody that want to get caught up quickly on prospects that would fit the Dallas Cowboys. So you know this from somebody that's been really deep into the draft since I've known you, that there are two different ways that certain people do boards. They'll have some people in their draft rooms will have kind of like their 60, and some people will have all their scouts do all type of work on 400 to 600 candidates.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a 60 guy, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm gonna pick about 60 to 70 to 80 players that I'm a target and that I'm going to say, okay, between these rounds, this is probably the most efficient way to build Dallas.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're kind of looking for a way to kind of catch up real quick, then you should look at the God. The God is going to help you do that, because in my God, I don't just deal with just drafts and potential draft picks. I also deal with free agents. And so you notice also, Big James, how many people have expired contracts with Dallas right now?
I know it's close to almost 30, isn't it? It's like 28,
Right.
29.
It's 30. Like it's 30 on the dot. So how many draft picks we have this year?
We don't have a 6th round, right? So I think we got like 6 picks because I don't think we have a 6th rounder.
Right. I think we have two fifth rounders, so 7, right?
Right.
So, I mean, me and you don't have to be great at math, but with 7 picks, right? And you have 7 picks, but 30 needs, what is that telling you most of the offseason is going to really comprise of?
Free agents.
Free agency. Right. We said it at the same time. So what Big James and I are doing that's different is through this God, and the reason why he wanted me to come on the show is because we go flip that. We go talk draft, obviously. We go talk prospects, but we also go talk where most of the movement is going to be, and most of the movement is going to be in free agency. So we just kind of changing it, changing and flipping the script. And you want to, purchase this guide, because the good thing about the guide is, guess what? It changes as information changes.
Right.
Like Big James, I was having a debate with a guy, and he literally said this, man. It came across, and it actually was an insult, but I was cool with it. He said, "Bro, I rarely agree with some of this homer you say."
You can cuss on here. It's okay.
I'm like, bro, I'm a homer. How am I a homer? Like, I speak against Dallas and their decisions a lot, so ain't no way.
That's what I'm saying. You ain't no homer in the 20th
No
pound.
way.
They don't know you then, because you ain't homer. You be going ham on Stephen Jones.
Hey, like
you be going ham on Stephen Jones, dog.
Man, I be waiting on Stephen Jones to knock on my door, bro.
You be giving him the business, dog.
I know, bro. I know. So I was like, Homer, cool. I'll take that shoot, sure. But he said, Homer is, but I'm on this. Always much respect. You doing work, and I'm gonna show you my appreciation. Great stuff. And he was talking about the book. And I said, yeah, Brian, disagreement is good, especially when we both open to change to whatever the best path is after the debate. And me and you been rocking like that for a long.
Right.
Like me and you, we'll disagree, but we do it so good. Cats don't even know we disagree.
Right. Well, you remember we just had a conversation on Facebook. We went for like 20 minutes, just going back and forth. Back and forth. People like, this is good. I like this. Back and forth, agreeing to disagree, but at the end of the day, it's all good. You ain't gotta be mad at each other. These cats be getting all in their feelings, want to fight you. Where's your IP address at? I'm about to come beat you up because you like Dak Prescott and I don't.
Bruh. And see, this the deal. And see, like when we was talking about safety. See, but this is the philosophy that I believe me and you rock with. And I got this from my brother, the OC. He said, man, I'm from the camp where the best idea wins. It's not about me winning.
Right.
It's about what's the best idea.
Right.
And we was just going back and forth until we finally got to a point like, okay, I like that.
Right.
You know what I mean? But the process of getting there was messy.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? That's what I told him. I said,
we had to do the dinner, cut all through the steak and the mashed potatoes, cut through all that. We had to do all that.
And sometimes you got to do all that. And then I said, sometimes to that path is ugly. The best part about us with this draft guide is our debates will improve the information, So basically what I told him after that, I said, hey, man, if with your permission, and this is what's different about this guide, he raised a good point. He said, hey, man, I saw you mentioned in the book about McCarthy, and I looked at the trend on McCarthy and his weapons, right, from when he was at Green Bay. And the trend was obvious that when he first took the job with Green Bay, his receivers was like our size, 6'1", 6 foot, right? But over time, if you look at his latter years, because you read the book, most of it already, so you saw that was in the early part. The last 4 years of when he was there, you could clearly see that most of the weapons start being 6'3" and 6'4", some 6'5".
Right.
Alan Lazar, all those guys, Jimmy Graham, like you could tell they was targeting big targets for Aaron. And but boss, they pretty clearly said that he didn't have a lot of influence in Green Bay on, off-season strategy. That was pretty much left up to front office. But you right. And I acknowledged that. I said, you right. I said, but at the same time, who is his assistant coach right now?
Right.
Right. He brought him over from personnel at Green Bay. Right. So I say, so the guy that was actually making those decisions is over here now. So we still have to think like that.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? So he was basically, but I'm still going to acknowledge his point when I update the book this week, and I'm gonna put his name in it. He raised a good point, boom, 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 bam, 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 and then it gives me a chance to enhance the book, and then he get acknowledgement out of it. So different debates that me and you have, like if it's a prospect that you say, boss, have you considered this guy? And I say, no, I ain't even seen him, James. Yeah, it's a sleeper. And then I look at him, I'll be like, boy, you right. And then James finna be in the update that week. James' name is in the book. So everybody with this God is not like we wrote it, we done. You with me? It's going to continue all the way up to the 53. So it's basically a way for all of us to participate like we always do, right? So this format gives us a chance to do it together. You know what I mean? So that's what pretty much the book is about, is basically being in this journey together and debating the best ideas and then putting it in a location. And this is why I love it, Big James. Me and you've been talking, 4 or 5 years now?
Yes, sir.
As friends. So it's things that me and you will look back on in 4 years and say, bro, you remember that draft from 4 years ago? Well, with this guide, as we do it going forward, now it's going to be like we're going to be able to go back and say, okay, who was the guys we was hot on in 2020? Where are they now? Because they currently free agents. And then it's going to make us even smarter by 2024.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So this is going to be like a growth for all of us. It's going to make us all sharper, all smarter, all included in this. So I always tell people to go to my page. That's where you'll be able to find it. But I'm pretty sure you're going to let me do that anyway.
Yeah, we're going to do that. But you know what? That's a great concept that you're talking about and doing. I think the biggest thing that I really like about the concept is that you can update it, because a lot of these guides that come out now, possibly draft guides, free agents guides, that's just what it is. You get the book and then that's it. You just read it and then you're just going to formulate off that. It's never really updating. It's just a set thing. So if you have a situation where you're updating and still constantly going through it, that makes that guide 10 times better. It makes that book so much more valuable, because you can always do a new update on it, and you're always going to want to get the newest thing because it's always updating. So, dog, that's a beautiful idea. I got a chance to look at it yesterday, and I'm going to show a little bit while we're talking right quick. I'm going to show you a little, you did a little preview, like a 2-minute preview. I'm going to show that right now so the people can see just a little bit of the guide, and then we'll jump in and talk about a few things. So give me 1 second right here.
Let's do it, big brother.
And I'm going to play the good music too.
Yeah, don't hold back on them, bro. Slam them.
I'm playing the music and everything, dog. I'm going to let them go ahead and watch it and check it out. And that's amazing what you did right here. Did you do all this yourself?
Yeah, I did all of it, man.
That's nice, big dog.
I appreciate it, man, especially coming from you, man, because you educated in this, bro. Like, anytime somebody like you say that, and I know they went to school for this, man.
Yeah, that was good.
And I also know you would tell me if it wasn't.
Yeah, I'd be like, I just give you a That's okay. It looks all right. Maybe you could do a little bit different right here.
Yeah, so, hey, and I'm going to tell you, man, like, when, because Big James already got the book. Thank you, brother. But I'm going to tell you, me and Big James' relationship is friendship. It's a great friendship. Because actually, even before I started doing blogging, when you came in town, I ain't gonna never forget, and you was like, bro, I'm in town. And I was like, bro, I'm gonna be on that side of town. And I went and met you. It was the first time I met you, you know what I mean? And it was really just supporting you in your hustle and your grind and your vision and your passion, And I never had no idea I would be blogging, bro. I had no idea, but I just wanted to let all you people and supporters know, man, that, Big James is a real genuine guy. And I'm telling you, he love the Cowboys. And the first time we literally met, it was just all about just me and him and just getting a chance to know each other.
Yes, sir. And it was a beautiful thing. I love how it grew. I appreciated the support when you came out there when I came in town. It's just a beautiful thing, and I just love how it grows. And I love how, like I said, a lot of people, when you're doing this cowboy thing, people can't disagree. And even if you're not like on the same channel, people get in their feelings. Oh, he's saying this. I ain't talking to him no more because he feel this way. Come on, dog. We're just talking cowboy football, man. This ain't nothing personal. Everybody ain't agreeing. And just because me and you don't agree, don't mean either of us is wrong. We just ain't agreeing on it. It's okay.
Yeah, it's okay. Yeah, okay. And debate path to truth. Debate is the path to truth. Exactly. I want to read one of your supporters. Steve Mack said XFL definitely needs some better QBs besides PJ Walker and Cardale Jones. The rest have been pretty bad.
I mean, yeah, we still got to understand it's the XFL. You get what I'm saying? It's not the NFL, it's the XFL. So they're not going to have the top talent. They're going to have good players, but they're not going to have top talent. And you get a lot of players that are in the NFL that don't want the stigma of going to that league. If you're a former NFL player, okay, and then you go to the XFL, in your own brain, there's probably like a fraternity, and they're probably looking at you, what, you playing an XFL, dog? Ha, ha, ha. You get what I'm saying? I mean, let's keep it real. It's a fraternity. When I used to play basketball, we had we called the NBA court and the CBA court. We used to call the NBA court and the CBA court. If you weren't good, you played on the CBA court. You remember the CBA back in the day? Okay, the Continental Basketball Association. You played on the CBA court if you weren't good. If you're on the NBA court, you go over there. And that's what this is. You get what I'm saying? So, yes, there's not going to be great fraternity. And some of those guys, the NFL, if they get cut, they ain't going to try to go to the XFL. They're going to say, nah, I'm cool. I'm going to still keep on trying the NFL because I don't want that stigma. So I think that's why it's happening. I would like to see somebody like a RG3 go there. Why don't he go there? He should go there.
Yeah, I mean, and I mentioned that coming because guess what? Cardale Jones in the draft guide and the offseason guide. I put him in the guide as somebody that's a potential replacement for Cooper Rush. And the reason why I put that is because, and this, Big James, because me and you went back and forth on Allen. Remember that?
Uh-huh.
And you was telling me, because I was like, nah, man, I'm not feeling Allen. Remember that? And you was like, you tripping. Because you was at the combine. you was there. Yeah. And then you was like, no, you said, no, boss, I'm watching him, bro. This dude got a gun.
Right.
And then I was watching the combine from television as you was up there, and I was like, you know what, Big James might be right. Right? And so I hit you. I was like, man, I'm seeing it. I'm seeing it like that. He looked like he made some corrections. But the reason why I brought him up, because that's basically Cardale Jones. Mm-hmm. Cardale Jones is Allen, bro. Mm-hmm. That's if you was in love with Allen for his big arm, how do you not like Cardale Jones?
Right.
You know what I mean? And so part of the God is trying to find solutions that's cheap. You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So, and then I said it before he started performing in the XFL. So that's why I feel good to see your boy Steve say Cardale Jones doing his thing. Well, Boss Cowboy and James is like, bring him to Dallas. Right. You know what I mean? As a backup.
Be a because great backup.
That's a great backup because who got a bigger upside in your opinion, James? Cardale or Rush Noodle on?
Man, stop it. I've been saying Pooper Rush. They gave him that name. I ran with it. Soon as I heard him say Pooper Rush, I ran with that name, dog. I ran with it, dog. I'm singing it. Every time they mention him, I say Pooper. I don't even say Cooper. And I ain't hating on him, dog, but you remember that crazy stuff that they were talking about when he was there? Oh, guess what? He's looking good in camp. Remember when Tony Romo came in there undrafted, blah, blah, blah? I was like, man, this dude is trash, dog. Y'all sitting there talking about this dude is going to be the next Romo. Cooper Rush is trash, okay?
Yeah,
he is. Yeah. I don't care. And if Dak Prescott ever got hurt while they talking all that trash, if Dak Prescott ever got hurt and he had to come in the game, we ain't winning the game. Dallas ain't winning the game. Period.
Right. And see, I got to do more homework on PJ Walker because guess what? I'm hearing his name come up a lot.
I see Stevie Mack and Azura talking about PJ Walker.
Yeah, so guess what? Y'all go more than likely be people that get me to upgrade the draft guide. Straight up. You know what I mean? Cause see, like, cause I'm gonna do some homework on him. I'm pretty sure you are, Big James, and
Mm-hmm.
then we gonna circle back around and we gonna do this show maybe in another week or 2 or 3 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
But then it'll be like, yeah, I did look up PJ Walker, and we've been looking at games, and yes, we want him as a backup, or no, we don't. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Right.
So that's how the draft guide works. And then like one of you guys said, Boss Cowboy, how can we talk? It's basically at Boss Cowboy Sports. Look me up on Facebook, and that's how you can just reach out to me. So if you got any ideas, like, hey, look at this guy, look at that guy, that's what this whole thing is about. With this draft guide is about putting a place for information in the world fans create
Mm-hmm.
good prospects.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So
And you know what we were just talking about? We were talking about this off air, and we were like, nope, let's go live because we're gonna be talking about this stuff, and it's gonna be too good of stuff. You just what we were saying. Too many times, a lot of people they look at these people who are the so-called draft experts that are on TV, and they do these mock drafts every day and everything. They keep pounding the table, pounding the table. Oh, and I'm not saying this player is not good. I'm just making an example, like Grant Delpit, like we were talking about. Pounding the table, pounding the table. Everybody pounding the table for Grant Delpit. Without you ever even looking at a player, okay, and you keep hearing this name, you will, in your brain, automatically think, this kid must be good then. You probably won't ever watch the tape. You'll just assume he's good. And then when somebody mentions his name, yeah, Grant Delpit, that's my guy. I want Grant Delpit. That's what I'm going with. You ain't never looked at this dude. You ain't heard. You ain't seen not one damn look at tape about this kid, but 17 people say he's good, so you're going to go, I'm going to be the 18th and say he's good. No. That's why I've said too many times before, I respect all these guys out there, and I love to learn. But at the end of the day, I like my eyes. You get what I'm saying? That's why I started going to training camp, because I got tired of listening to Brian Broaddus and them. I respect them dearly, but I get tired of listening to them saying, hey, this kid is this, and this, but I'm not seeing them. So basically, I have to trust Brian Broaddus' eyes instead of my own, and I don't like that because you know what? I've coached in this game. I've played in this game. I've took scouting classes. I've did all that, so I think my eyes pretty decent too. So yes, I'll look and see what Brian Broaddus says or some other guys, but then I'm gonna go on my own and I'm gonna break it down and trust my own eyes. And if I don't feel right, I'm gonna say no. That doesn't mean just because I'm saying no and Brian Broaddus is saying yes that he's right, because he can be wrong too.
way wrong. And can I echo you on that just a little bit, my friend?
Echo it.
So let's go. So 40% of first round picks are outright bust.
Huh.
So if 40% of first round picks, which is supposed to be your surest pick out of like 400 to 600 prospects, that's telling you that people get paid millions and still they getting grades of 60 on the test.
Mm-hmm.
So if we sitting in school, why would you cheat off somebody that's gonna score 60 at best?
Because you think he knows it.
Thank you.
Because
and
you
your
think,
point,
and how many times have you? Oh, I'm gonna copy off them. They know, and then when you get your test back, you got an F. You got an F. And you're like, damn it! I knew I shouldn't have copied off. Y'all should have just studied my. I should have just studied my own. And it. Oh my God, that was a great. What you just said was great. I never saw it like that. I never saw it like that.
Look at it. Like these people that we call experts on average are scoring D's on the test, on where you ain't supposed to miss.
Right.
Like, how do you miss in the first round?
Right.
So that mean, like, and we were saying this before we got on the show. In my opinion, what happens is a lot of us, we allow and this happens in everything: politics, religion, football, basketball. We allow our ears to be greater than our eyes.
Mm-hmm.
So to your point, like you were saying, it's a whole lot of people that's deal pit. I want him. And so you listening. So then you start kind of going with that train versus when I first started talking to you before we got on the show, he said, bro, where you been? I said, man, I've been in a dark place by myself, analyzing these guys so I wouldn't be influenced by television, draft reports, scout reports. I'm using only my eyes for the last 2 months. That was it. Mm-hmm. So I was intentionally dark so that I could use my eyes. So then that's when I wrote the guide and then did my own ranking, right? Mm-hmm. And so then I come back out into the open and say, okay, what are y'all saying? Because now I'm clear on what I saw, not on what I hear. Right. See what I'm saying?
Right.
And so over time, like for instance, one more example. I remember I was having a debate with somebody in a group, and I put um, Raekwon Smith was highly touted. Remember, out of
Mm-hmm.
Georgia,
Mm-hmm.
and then the Virginia linebacker, I forgot his name, but he had Buffalo. You good with names? I'm
Oh,
not.
oh my God, oh my God, he was my guy.
He was a
Tremaine
dog.
Ed,
It's got new boy. You good with
yeah,
names, bro?
Tremaine Edmonds, that's my dude.
Yeah, yeah. I knew. See, I watch you, bro. You cold with names. Like you'll name all the whole roster and not miss a beat. I see you do it too many times. Like even they knew you, dude. This guy's dude. Dang. But anyway, so I was having a debate, and then guess who I put number one on the linebacker list? Just from my eyes, the linebacker from the Colts. I forgot his name too. You'll know
Oh,
him.
Darius Leonard.
Darius Leonard. I put Darius Leonard number one on my list, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it was in a group, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So when I put it, I
You
already
got
knew
hell.
hate.
You got
I
hell.
knew the hate was
You
coming,
got
bro.
hella
I
hate.
got I got hella hate. And then one of the guys said this. He said, well, I understand you trying to be different and all, but when everybody is saying Raekwon, something got to be wrong with you.
Right.
And, okay. I said, all right. I said, we going to let the season play out. Because I'm going to tell you what I saw, Big James. And I know you go out to these events. You go to the Senior Bowls. You go to the draft. You use your own
Mm-hmm.
eyes. You scout train.
Mm-hmm.
So you know to be independent. So this is what I was looking at when I was looking at him. I say this guy played in the Senior Bowl, and he was the leader of leaders. Don't that say something to you?
Yeah.
Especially when you only got a week of practice, and then everybody like cling to your magnetism.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So that
Mm-hmm.
means amongst the alpha dogs, because only the alpha dogs get the invite to the Senior Bowl.
Right.
So amongst the alphas, he's sitting there leading those guys, making plays, and I'm like, I don't care what nobody say. That's the man.
Right.
A man that can lead men and alphas, the man.
Right.
Right? And he making plays and he dogging right now.
Mm-hmm.
So forget what the ears are saying. I went with my eyes. You know what I mean? And I know you do the same thing because we talk a lot. We talk a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like me and you, and that's why people need to really more so listen to us on social media, because we not getting a check from anybody. We basically can say without reservation,
Whatever. You feel me?
like you
Wayne?
said.
Yes, exactly. We don't gotta have the influence. And that's why I tell a lot of people, we're not hating on those guys up top or whatever they do. But like you said, they're getting a check from their network, this and that. So they're going to say certain things because
Right.
the network is saying you need to say this because they're not going to allow them to go outside the box. We ain't got to worry about that. We can say whatever the hell we want, and we can just be as truthful as we can. We're going to be as truthful as it is because we ain't got to worry about somebody coming back and knocking on our door and reprimanding us, saying, no, you can't be saying that on air. No, we are independent, and we're going to go with those independent thoughts. And that's why I feel like you're going to get a more realism with us because we're doing the grind, and you're not having a big network pay us, and you're going to get the absolute truth. Like, I'm not going to lie to you. I'm going to tell you how I feel, and if you don't like that, that's okay. You don't really got to listen, but I'm still going to say it, and I'm not going to change my influence because, 5 people from draftnetwork.com said it's okay.
Right. Amen, bro.
You feel me?
Hey, yeah, amen. So I mean, and and see, I'm telling y'all, that's the only way to be. That's the only way to be, because it's people. It was one guy, he hit me up like this, Big James. He said, man, I don't see like I'm bad with names. The LSU corner that's coming out. I forgot his name.
Fulton.
I'd say I love you, man. You so good with names. Fulton. But yeah, so I was like, nah, bro, I took him off my list. He's not even in the guide. right? Right, listen, bro, for real. He said, why? I said, man, and that's true. This is true on me.
Mm-hmm.
I said, man, I grade very, very heavily on how you perform in big games. And Alabama bent him over, bro, like bad. Like basically he got hit with about 8 Allen Iverson crossovers. I mean, they was breaking him down to the ground with their routes. You know what I mean? Where they hit you with a route and you fall. I said, oh no.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, like, those 3 Alabama receivers are truly first round talented guys, but he gonna see them that type of skill set weekly.
Every week.
Every week. So it's like I was like, nah. But then he hit me with something. He said, boss, how deep did you go into his injury history? I said, man, I looked at it, but maybe I didn't go deep enough.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, yeah, he had surgery after the season.
Mm-hmm.
So go look at his previous year too, just to make sure you're right.
Mm-hmm.
He said, because boss, I can't follow you if you have baking these analysis.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, bro, I'm gonna tell you something. I said, that's the point of the guide. So I'm gonna go back, go look at more of his previous tape. Cause see, Big James, let's not lie and act like we looked at all these guys for 20 games.
Exactly.
Stop
exactly.
it.
Yeah.
At the most, all of us done watched 3 or 4 games at the most on any player.
Right.
So that's why most people flunk, because it's only so much time in the day. You ain't gonna watch 30 game tapes on one prospect. You go watch his big games,
Right.
and you go watch some little games. Make sure that he dominating in big games. You go make your assessments. You go move to the next. So I said, but I told him, I said, bruh, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go back and look, and if you right, I'm gonna update it. I'm gonna put it in the guide, and I'm gonna put your name by it.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? But that's what it's about, man. It's that type of stuff and that's why you got to keep up with Big James and me, right? And people like us, because we those type of guys to where I'm looking at a lot of comments and people giving a lot of opinions. Like Tyrone said, I don't think LSU cornerback is good myself. I agree. You see what I'm saying?
He's okay. Listen.
He's okay.
Boss, listen, when we did a draft show, Jeff Kavanaugh and Bobby Belt were on there, and we were talking about first rounders. Well, we were talking about the first round, and if you got to give up Byron Jones, which I think is going to happen, it's just too much writing on the wall when you look at these other teams are going to make a play for him, and I just don't feel like the Cowboys are going to match him. I just don't feel like they're going to get in a bidding war. Patrick Walker, who had on the show, said that they're not going to get in a bidding war, so I just feel like the writing is on the wall with Byron Jones. But when we were talking about the cornerbacks, right, C.J. Henderson was missing, Fulton was mentioned, some other guys. But when I went and watched the tape, okay, and I watched these guys now, and I was telling them, the kid Blakeney from TCU, he probably wasn't on the fast skill level, but he would hit. He stuck his nose in there, and he got physical. Now, when I watched Fulton and I watched C.J. Henderson, who everybody is loving, these guys make business decisions on tackling. They do not like to tackle. Okay? So when I keep on looking at these corners, and yeah, athletically, the size, the length, and all that, but these guys don't be tackling, dog, and these are in big games. So I'm like, if you're not tackling right now, and the Cowboys draft you in the first freaking round, man, I'm like, man, that gets me nervous, because if you're making these decisions where you're not sticking your nose in it there, what are you going to do when you get in the league? It's 10 times worse.
What? Preach.
I'm just saying. See, I love them good sermons, bro. And see, we ain't never talked like in depth on like these corners. Right.
Bro, I said the exact same
They don't
thing.
tackle, dog.
They don't tackle.
And yes, they may have the all-world covering that can cover. Yeah, that's all good. But you got to be able to tackle in this league. One of the reasons why we like Jordan Lewis and even Cheeto, even though we be getting on him, they will tackle. Both of them had around 70-something tackles. They will tackle you. They will stick their nose in, and that's why you like a Jordan Lewis, because he's not the biggest guy, but he sticks his nose in there and he tackles. So when we're talking about C.J. Henderson and these other guys in the first round, if you're giving up your Byron Jones, these guys aren't tackling. That gets me nervous. They're not physical. They're not physical. So if they're not physical on the college level and they're going against these NFL receivers, dog, that worries me, because you're spending a first-round draft pick on these guys.
Bro, and I'm going to go ahead and give one tip in the guide that I said, bro. I'm going to go and say it. You know how you ain't never really supposed to give some of the secret sauce to the guide until they buy it?
Yeah.
But I'm going to go and spill the beans, because you preach too good, man. I'm going to say this, and I mean this, bro. This first-round talent this year is underwhelming, bro. It's literally only 2 that I think we should sit at 17 for. Other than that, move down.
Mm-hmm.
Like serious. Simmons
mm-hmm.
and Kayvon.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. Raekwon, maybe. But other than that, go down and get depth. To your point. Because, see, I'm a vomit, bro. Like, literally vomit. If we get a corner in the first round that's missing tackles, and that's why I'm low on Del Pitt. Like, it's a lot of people trying to hype Del Pitt, and I'm like, bruh, I'm not, like you said, I'm not trying to hate on our current players, but if we go get a guy that's missing a lot of tackles, we might as well keep Xavier Woods and pick something else. Because, like, I don't want no first rounder where you got to say, well, you can teach him how to tackle. No, you're a first rounder. I shouldn't have to teach nothing.
No, we're just teaching you techniques and things like that nature, getting ready for the NFL. But tackling, that's something you ought to be able to do.
That should come with you, man. That should come in the box, you know? So it's one of those things to where, man, one of the biggest, and I love your preaching, man, because you know how it is. You go to church. Sometimes you in church and the preacher be preaching your sermon, man. He done went right into your prayer closet and got all your goodies out. You know what I mean? And he's saying exactly what you've been hearing to yourself. You know what I mean? He be like, yes, that was from, for lack of better words, that was from the Lord. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
And that's what I'm getting as you talking about these corners. And that's why I'm so crunk, because it's like I never talked to Big James, but he's seeing what I saw. You know what I mean? And it's like when we both seeing the same stuff and we ain't never talked, bruh, it's true.
I mean, it's true, okay? It's just what it is. So let's jump in. I'm gonna give you a quick series of questions because we ain't gonna talk all day because I know people want to watch this All-Star game and all that good stuff. But I'm gonna just throw some names out there and you tell me what do you think is gonna happen in a quick nutshell. All right?
Gotcha. All right.
And I'm gonna switch to these guys right quick. All right. Well, we're gonna go with the man, Dak Prescott. Is this dude getting signed or not?
Paid.
Okay. Now, let me ask you one thing. Why the freaking hold up, man? If he's gonna get paid, right? But when I was just listening to Mike Fisher, and he was, I was just listening to what he's saying, and he was saying how Jerry was always going through the organization asking, this is our guy, right? Dak Prescott's our guy. Like, Dak Prescott's our guy. Why are we waiting so long? Because you didn't wait this long with Romo.
Yeah, man, I might have to only take that question because that's a deep question, bro.
Yeah, well, you know what? That's a long-ass question. But just in a quick nutshell, why?
I'm going to try to be quick because that's a lot.
That's a lot one.
I got you, though. I got you. And then my boy Tyrone Church said, check out the Louisiana Tech. Yeah, Amik, love him. Love him.
He
love him.
A lot of people have been high on him. A lot of
I
people
love
have been
him,
high. I think he had a little bit of an injury, so Dallas could possibly get him later.
Ball skills. He like another Jordan Lewis, but a little bit more physical. And because I'm thinking before I talk about that Dak Prescott, just real quick, I'm thinking this is not the draft at all to target corner. I think we should target nickel and just let Lewis and the Awuzie battle it out for a contract in 2020. If the talent really not there, don't reach for it. That's my whole point. But the nickel talent quality, so get a nickel. So on Dak and why, I'm gonna be all the way honest with you, man. I think this is more ego than it is anything else. Because Stephen Jones publicly not only did this with Dak, but you got to look at it. The pattern of how he's treating Dak is how he treated Cooper, and he tried to treat Zeke, right? So I wrote an article about this, and I said basically good guys finish last in Dallas, right? So the way that you get paid in Dallas is it's almost like this, Big James. You go filming, you got the beautiful lady and all that kind of stuff. But before you had the beautiful lady, let's try to act like you didn't. Let's go back to your player days, right? So in the player days, you quickly saw that what good guys was not getting all the pretty women were.
Right.
So what we all changed is we adopted a little bit of a-hole, didn't we?
A little bit of a dog, because you know and I know the nice guys always finish last when it comes to the girls, especially the bad ones. You gotta
the bad ones wanted the bad boys.
They wanted the bad boys. So when you would see them, instead of you saying, "Hey baby, how you doing?" You're like, "Hey yo, what's up?"
Yeah. Oh, say, girl, them lips. You got some fat lips, girl. Ooh. You got to talk to them real disrespectful now.
Yeah, and they be like, "Ooh, I like that."
Yeah, I like that. You can't say, "Hey, how you doing? Have a seat. You and your friend want something to drink." Oh, he's a sucker. See, that's how Dallas is. So when you go to practice, when you do the whole job, when you don't hold out,
Mm-hmm.
you don't get paid. Look at what happened with Tank. He took the tag when he said, "I'm happy with the tag. I'm
They
cool
jumped
with."
right. Yeah, they was all
They let him take it.
they loved it. They said, "Here, go ahead and take that tag." You know what I'm
That
saying?
tag,
Jump right on
right?
it. But then all of a sudden he's like, "I ain't playing on that tag again next year. You can forget it.
Yeah.
I'm holding out. I'm not doing this surgery. I ain't doing shit."
Exactly. And once I ain't doing nothing, guess who was the first to get paid?
Huh?
Tank. Tank. Why?
Huh?
He was Venus.
Huh?
So then Zeke came out in January and said, if I'm not paid, I'm holding out.
Mm-hmm.
So Dallas did what they normally do. They waited and they waited, tried to act. And then Dallas said this: we like these guys to do deals in training camp, which is not cool because basically you saying I want to try to skip through the agents and talk to them directly, which you can't do.
Mm-hmm.
And the players union should have stepped in on that, but they didn't. So now what does Zeke have to do to get paid? Hold out.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But what was Steven saying in the public before he held out? And it wasn't against Dak. He said it against all his best players. He said, none of these guys gonna be market sellers. And Jerry got on there talking the big game, and I ain't man enough to do what's best for the team. In other words, paying those guys is hurting the team.
Right.
No, bro. Like, now me and Big James know. Maybe other fans don't know, but me and Big James know this. We got more cap space than we had in the last 8 years combined.
Right.
So let's not act like paying them is gonna break us.
Right.
Let's just stop that game right now.
Right.
But they say stuff like that because they know most of the fans are ignorant. That don't mean done. I mean you don't know. So they don't know. So they'll just kind of go with it. So basically, to answer your question, they doing Dak the way Dak is allowing himself to be done. Like I said this about Dak. I say, Dak, at this point, it's your fault. Because, like, when I see all the pretty girls going with the bad guy and I continue to be the gentleman, then you must didn't really want the pretty girl. You didn't.
Right.
Because you didn't adapt. Like, after he started off 3-0, and Whitlock was saying he was an MVP candidate, and all his biggest haters was calling him an MVP candidate, he should have said, hey, y'all let Russ go into New Orleans. I've been waiting long enough.
Right.
And if he would have became a bad guy, he would have got the girl, which is the contract.
Right.
But as long as he keeps saying, I don't play for money, I don't. Okay, they go continue.
Yeah, they're gonna be like, oh, you don't play for money? Well, we're just gonna keep on using you. And just like Russell Wilson before he got his contract, what did he say before he got his contract? He said, you better pay me, or you will not see me in camp. You will not see me nowhere near camp. I'm going to hold out. You might want to trade me. You're going to make this happen, or it's going to get real ugly. And what happened? Russell Wilson got his money, and he wasn't playing around. He got his money. So I think
same thing happened with Julio.
Exactly. And I think I want to see who said it. I'm trying to get the name. One Marquise says, do you think Dak is going to hold out? I don't know if he is, but he should. And I've said this for the last months. He should, because just like you said, I mean, after a while, dog, I mean, I know he's doing this tour of duty, getting his name out there and whatever. But after a while, dog, you can't keep playing this, oh, well, this and you that. You got to get paid, dog, because as long as you keep on being the good soldier, they're going to keep playing you like that. And what's also funny to me about how fans love management, but in their own job, they hate management, right? Their own job, right? Their own job, they hate management. Management sucks. Management ain't never good for the people. They hate management, right? But why is it when it comes to sports, they always take a management side? They always take a management side like, man, he's just being too greedy. He ought to just take what they offer him. No, would you? If you've been doing what he did and balled out, would you say, oh, you know what? I want to do what's best for the team, and I'm going to take an extra $10 million less because I want to keep our team together. Stop with that damn lie, because they didn't come at Tony Romo with that crap. They didn't tell Tony Romo, make a team-friendly deal and everything. No, they said, he's our priority, make it happen. So, Stephen Jones, stop talking to us. We don't want to hear it no more. Sign the man. There's no excuses. You don't need to tag him. You don't need to do any of that crap. You don't need to do it. You can sign this man and we can move on. Dallas is the one that does this to themselves because they wait forever and they wait and wait and wait. And then when it gets ugly and the price goes up, then the first thing they do is jump in the media and be like, well, we gave him a great deal here. But you know what? He didn't really want to go that route. And trying to get people on management's team again. No, get your money, Dak. Get paid.
Hey, let me talk about that real quick too, man. Because like it's almost imagine dating, right? And then every time you dating somebody, she's saying to you, "I love you. You the only one. I see nobody ever replacing you." But every time y'all have a disagreement, they put it on face. She put it on Facebook, or she can tell her mama. What your trust gonna be like for her, man?
Exactly.
Like for real,
Yeah.
right?
You
So
gonna be like, you
so it's like
suspect.
you killing your own team morale and chemistry with the way that we negotiate. Like
Mm-hmm.
so, and it's a couple of stuff that's so obviously disingenuous. Like for instance, they reported Dak turned down 30. Then they say Dak turned down 32. Then they say Dak turned down 33. They never mention the guarantee. They never mention the total duration of the contract. They only leak out what makes him look greedy.
Mm-hmm.
But this is the worst disingenuous part about that to me, my boy Big James. The exclusive tag is $33.6 million.
Mm-hmm.
So that's pretty much Dak's guaranteed bottom.
Mm-hmm.
So why would Dak take an offer for 30, 32, or even 33 if you know your guaranteed bottom is 33.6?
Don't make no
And,
sense.
and people don't think about that. Like, yes, he turned that down because he should. The bottom is our talks start at 33.6.
Mm-hmm.
So stop sending me over these insulting proposals. I'm not signing none of that. It got to get above 33.6 or we not talking. And somebody said, well, I think they're going to do an exclusive tag on Dak. Dallas is not doing an exclusive tag on Dak or they are crazy, bro. Because an exclusive tag allows him to be shopped in the open market. Let me ask you a question, Big James, and I'm being all the way honest with you, right? Would you let your lady out the club, go to the club and she got on some Daisy Dukes where you can see her cheeks?
Not without me.
No. You not, because you like, you my lady. I'm
You
not
ain't
letting
going
you
no,
out the
yo.
house.
Nah, not without me, you
Not
ain't.
like that. So y'all really think with as thirsty some of these teams are for a quarterback, like the Colts, right? You don't think Colts will pay him 35?
They probably will. And and the thing is because they have Eberflus over there and that's an influence, just like they were looking at Byron Jones because people coaches that leave a team and they have familiarity, first thing they try to do is pluck. They try to pluck that old team. That's the first thing that they try to do. They try to pluck because they have the familiarity with it. And, yeah, it definitely can happen. What kills me is, though, if Dak is so sorry, how do they feel like he can get, well, let's just trade him for 2 first-round picks. Well, if he sucks so bad, how can he get 2 first-round picks if he's so damn trash?
Right,
A
bro.
damn
Like, so
trash-ass quarterback ain't getting 2
getting
first-round picks, right?
no. And then literally it's gonna cause a bidding war. And I'm gonna be all the way honest, bro. Let's think about it from this standpoint. Two's first rounders too cheap for that. Cause Larry Tunsil went for 2 first rounders to the Texans. And then you had the corner that went to the Rams for 2 first rounders. And you got your quarterback who outperformed the number 1 and number 2 draft picks in his class. You gonna only take 2 for that? You crazy.
Yeah.
Like, and not me. I'm like, bruh, these teams is giving. They tried Jamal Adams supposed to cost 2 first, and a quarterback that just threw for 3,900 plus yards and 30 touchdowns. I'm gonna give him away for 2 first, bro. You better increase that price.
Mm-hmm.
I want 2 first and a second and a 2022 third.
Might as well. You might as
Yeah,
well. You might
If
as
if they
well.
giving away 2 firsts for corners and tackles, a quarterback, bruh.
Right.
So anyway, so it's like, yeah, man, like, and I feel sorry for you sometimes, Big James. I ain't gonna lie, bro.
Why is that?
I mean, I see what you deal with on your page.
Oh yeah, they be killing me. They call me a Dak lover. Like, no, I can't. Like, there's sometimes, dog, I don't even want to post Dak on my page because if I post him, they be killing me, dog. They be killing me, and I'll be like, listen, dog. Like, you know what? I get tired of the people keep on saying this. Oh, you just a Dak lover. Yeah, I do like my quarterback, but this is what I told him also. I love Romo too. Okay? When I felt like this was my guy, I loved him. And guess what? And Romo would piss me off with the interceptions. Romo would piss me off with some of the stuff he does. Does Dak Prescott piss me off at times? Yes, he pisses me off at times. But do I sit there and say, I don't want him as my quarterback no more because he threw two incompletions or an interception this game? I'm done with him. No, I don't do that. But yes, he does make me mad, but that's okay. That happens with any NFL player. Any NFL player is not going to be perfect all season long, and I'm going to yell at the TV at him. But that doesn't take my love away from the player, man.
No, bro. No, and I say, bro, like sometimes knowledge is lonely.
Man.
It is. It's lonely, and I watch you do it, man. I watch you on your page. You'll see some of these ridiculous statements, and I just see you just kind of leave it alone.
Yeah, I don't
And I
even
say,
want to. Yeah, I'm
I,
not going.
I know Big James want to
I'll,
snap.
I'll, I'll be wanting to snap, dog, but I just like, you know what? You can't go back and forth with them because they'll go all day, dog. Like, they go
Right.
all day. Like, if you see a Dak hater, I had this one dude who was a Dak hater. I went to his Twitter page. Every freaking tweet was about Dak Prescott. Every freaking tweet, dog. Like, every tweet was about Dak. I don't argue with them people because them people are lonely and that's all they want to do all day is argue with you. I'm not doing that, bruh. I'm not going to argue back with you. You can believe what you want. I can believe what I want. But I'm looking at what I've seen and what I've watched. And guess what? You need to pay the man. So let's leave that alone. So let's go with Amari Cooper right quick. Amari Cooper. Some people in the organization been 50-50 talking about, you know what, we was high on him, but now, you know what, this receiver class is super deep because it is. This receiver class is dumb deep. Do you think they're going to sign Amari long-term, or do you think they're probably, because I'm hearing now that they just might tag him this year, possibly draft somebody, and then they might push Michael Gallup to that number one role, use Amari for that 1 year, and then probably scoop up a receiver and see how it goes, and then say, hey, hasta la vista next year. Do you think that's a possibility in your own heart?
It's a possibility, but it wouldn't be, in my opinion, the best choice for the Dallas Cowboys because when you're dealing with Amari, like, and you really go look at the types of catches that Gallup makes versus the type of catches that uh, Amari makes. Amari wins on routes. Gallup wins on effort, right? And because he's not a blazer, but he makes real tough catches. He's hardly really ever even truly just wide open. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So it's a tough reach to make Gallup a number one going into year three.
I'm
That's
just
a
not
tough.
ready for. Yeah, I'm not ready for that right
Yeah,
now.
yeah, he's looking like he's emerging, but I think that would be a little bit too premature to make him the big brother of the team, you know? So, and then I looked at myself the history of receivers making a transition into the NFL. And when you come into the NFL to be a hero of a team, the success rate is usually only around 5%.
Mm-hmm.
So when you look at, like, even remember that so-called legendary draft class that Juju came out of
Mm-hmm.
and Cooper Cup,
Mm-hmm.
the first 3 picks was Corey Davis, Michael Williams, and Ross. All of them was considered no miss. Every one of them was straight misses, more so because they was viewed as y'all coming in to be the hero and to this team. you know. And honestly, it's just too much for new receivers to take on. Every week you're going against Peters, then you're going against Jones the next week, then you're going against, you know, another top corner the next week. Like, your confidence to get beat up if you try to go get a rookie receiver to come in here and be a big boy early.
Mm-hmm.
So when I look at it from that standpoint, and I look at the fact that we got more than likely with this talent we have now, about a 4 or 5 year window with the group that we have now, I don't think this is just a time for musical chairs at receiver. I think you want to give McCarthy a good hand, just like we look at dominoes and you see all fives.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good hand,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
So you want to give McCarthy a good hand to really fully implement his full West Coast and not go cheap right now. Especially because you can pay him like that. Like I don't want to, and then like, and this is my last point on Cooper and Dak. Like, if anybody is ever serious about Dallas Cowboys and look at our whole history, our whole greatness has always depended on a triplet, bruh.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's ancient, bruh.
Mm-hmm.
Like we can go back to Staubach
Mm-hmm.
and look at that triplet era.
Yeah.
We can look at the new era of the 90s, that triplet era. We can look at the Romo triplet era, and now
Mm-hmm.
we got the Dak triplet era.
Right.
You pay the triplets.
Yeah.
You just pay him because we saw what Zeke was without Cooper. His average went up 1.5 yards per carry just with having an extra threat on the field.
Mm-hmm.
We saw what happened to Dak passing rating. It went up by 20 points with just Cooper.
Mm-hmm.
We gonna take that out?
Mm-hmm.
No. So, like, yes, we could, James, but does Boss think it's smart? I'm gonna say one curse word. Hell no.
I feel you, dog. Like, and I looked at I look at the positive and the negatives. You know, people say, well, he wasn't the greatest away from home, or
Yeah.
he is a little bit injury prone. I get that, but at the end of the day, dog, like you said, the triplets. I mean, just like you said, Roger Staubach. You had Drew
Yup.
Pearson, Tony Hill,
Yup.
Tony Dorsett. Okay, you
Yup.
had Troy Aikman, Alvin Harper, Michael Irvin, Emmitt Smith. Tony Romo, you had DeMarco Murray, Dez Bryant, Tony Romo. You feel me? And then
Yup.
now you have Dak Prescott, Ezekiel Elliott, and Amari Cooper. It just makes more sense. I get what they talking about with that money, but Dallas Cowboys can afford this. And just like you said, I think the biggest point, what you said with the Gallup thing, Gallup is nice, but when you see Gallup, he doesn't have the breakaway. When you see a lot of times when you watch Michael Gallup, he's always pretty much covered. It's
Yeah.
never a easy catch with him
No.
because he doesn't have the breakaway speed,
Nope.
and those guys are right on him. But he's such a dog in the
Oh.
air. He's a
Yeah.
dog in the air. He gets those 50-50 balls. He attacks that ball, and that's why he's good. And just like you said, Cooper surgically kills you. Okay?
Demolish you.
That
Yeah.
route running is one of the best
It's
in the
scary.
league. In the league.
Yeah.
Bar none.
Mhm.
His route
Bar
running is
none.
the best in the league. So
Explosive.
why would you want, just like you said, there's this McCarthy has a 5-year contract, but you know Jerry wants it in 3. You feel what I'm saying? So if you
Fact.
want it closer than that, then why would you start over or take the chance? Yes, these are some really good receivers in this draft, but you are still taking a chance because you do not know. With Amari Cooper, you do know. And it's not like he's 30. It's not like he's 31 years old. He's still a young guy, and he loves Dallas. I don't think he wants to go anywhere. Yes, you don't get along with everybody, but I think he wants to stay, and they can make it happen. And why break this up now, especially when you just signed Ezekiel Elliott to that big-ass deal? Why would you break this up now? Now it's time to put all your chips in, okay? Put all your chips in, and let's make this happen. So I feel
Right.
hopefully they'll figure something out with that. All right?
I want to say one more thing on that too.
All right.
Like Dallas is shooting themselves in the foot because basically what they saying is, Big James, being a Dallas Cowboy in itself is valuable, and that's why you should take a discount, right?
Right.
So that's the generic pitch. And like you say, a lot of our fans start sucking up to management and actually co-signing that thought. And this is the deal. Like, first of all, it's an absolute lie that Dak has all those endorsements because he's just a Dallas Cowboy quarterback. Because if that was the case, why didn't Romo have him to the level of Dak? He didn't because it was Dak's epic rookie season that really snowballed those endorsements. So basically, you got to first ball before they want to put their brand on you.
Mm-hmm.
Fact.
Mm-hmm.
Number two, the worst part of the assumption is, like, if you telling me you thirsty and you need my water, why you pausing in my water? So If you telling me you need us as a brand to have life after football success, well, every time you tell the fans that I'm being greedy, they not gonna want to support me. So you pausing in the water that you saying I'm supposed to drink from later in life.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And then three, on like just to that point you said, is the morale is trash when you're doing business like that in the public, because Dallas Cowboys is the only team out of all 32 that use Kardashian style reality TV, throwing their best players under the bus to try to get them to come down just $1 million. So it's one of those things. And then this is four, and I'm done, and we can move on to the next. Is what if, Big James, I don't want to be an entrepreneur? Is it a possibility that I can play for the Dallas Cowboys and be like Kidner and end up being a high school coach?
Hmm.
What if my future don't want to be a mogul? Right? What if I like just working? I watch you, Big James. I see you on the personal page. You see mine. I see you like working with kids.
Mm-hmm.
That's a passion. You know what I mean? Now, you like making money, but if it's anything that you can do for free, it's one thing I know Big James gonna always do: work with kids.
Mm-hmm.
So they making an assumption that everybody wants to be an entrepreneur like Jalen Smith. Everybody don't fit his business acumen and profile. It's some people that's gonna want to get those football checks and go away.
Mm-hmm.
So they making a general pitch and trying to force it to fit all of our best players.
Mm-hmm.
Like, everybody don't want to chase money forever like Jerry. Some of them want to get their money from football, play football, be compensated fairly according to market, and move on. So this whole thing and the whole way that the Dallas Cowboys are kind of playing this, in my opinion, big brother,
Mm-hmm.
it just ass backwards, man. And I just want us as a fan base to kind of start seeing through it and calling it out. Because the only reason they keep doing it to Dak, and the only reason they keep doing it to Cooper, and the only reason they did it to Zeke and Tank, is because they think we stupid. If they threw out that stuff and we all revolted back, like, of course he's supposed to turn down 33. They wouldn't do it, but
You're
they
right.
do it. They do it because they know it's gonna be half of the fans that's gonna get mad at. Like, it's people that's still mad at Zeke right now for holding out.
Yeah, you're right. I mean,
They pausing his water.
yeah. I mean, you're right. I mean, that's what they do. I mean, that's what management does. And I don't know why people don't wake up and see it. I mean, like I said, if you hate management at your own job, I don't know why you like management in sports. They're even worse. They're even worse in sports, dog. They're worse than your job. You get what I'm saying? You might run
So
for 1,800 yards. You remember Sean Alexander? He was an
yes,
MVP of the season, and then next year he was cut.
bro, dirt,
That's the way
dirty.
it happens. That's the way it is. So let me ask you a few more questions before we rang up out of here. What do you think
All right.
about Robert Quinn? You think Robert Quinn comes back, or you think it's going to cost too much, or you think somebody else is going to take some money, throw an astronomical number out there, and Dallas is not going to go for it?
I think you just said it. I think Quinn is gone.
Me too.
Yeah, he gone. Like, and I put in a draft guide contingency plans, right?
Mm-hmm.
Uh, the contingency plan would be Vic for me from Atlanta,
Mm-hmm.
because you got a guy, and I don't know if you're familiar with this terminology that I use. I call them Marshall's picks. You heard of that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so with the Marshall's picks, that's basically people. I like us going after players that had some form of greatness in their past, because what I think happens with Dallas is certain legendary brands that when you go there, it brings another level out of your play. So if you're all American and you go to Bama, you go play a little bit better because it's Bama. And
Right.
you know the history.
Mm-hmm.
It's the same thing with the Dallas Cowboys or going to Green Bay or going to Pitt. There's always almost like a epic rebound or second chance opportunity for former greats, or I call Marshall's picks, for former greats to rebound. So that actually happened with Quinn, right?
Mm-hmm.
People weren't high on Quinn when he came over with just those measly six stats. That's what people were saying. Oh, Quinn, you was high on him because you always was. I remember that.
Right.
You
Right.
always loved Quinn, so you
Mm-hmm.
were never late on that.
Mm-hmm.
But it was a whole lot of people late on Quinn. But
Mm-hmm.
what happened? He hit this major brand. He felt the energy. He felt the crowd. He felt the historic environment. He felt all that, and boom, rebound back up to 11.5. Right.
Right.
So I think the same thing can happen with Vic. Especially if you load up the other defensive tackle positions, which I talk heavily about in this offseason draft guide, because it's an epic class. So I
Epic.
think he gone, bro. I think he gone. And it's two people I think gone, and it ain't going to have nothing to do with Dallas. Byron Jones and Quinn. Now, we go try to make some attempts for Quinn, but the only way Quinn stay is he going to have to get a friendly deal. And at his
And
age,
he's not doing it.
I doubt
He's
he
not going to do it.
like, cause it's like I ain't that friendly to
This is
y'all.
last
Been here 1
contract.
year.
This is last
Right, this
contract.
my last contract. Like I gotta go eat. And then when you're a free agent, you the hottest chick on the block, and you get to date all the guys.
Right.
So now you can go to potentially the Saints again, get him another look. Right, you can go to other contender teams. With that you feel like give you a better chance, and that's gonna pay you more. He likely gone. So I mean, when you get any defensive end that come off 11.5 sacks at his age, somebody go pay him. So I'm already
And
more.
possibly they're going to probably overpay him because that's what the NFL does. They overpay you guys. And just like you said with Quinn, to me is, once he got those 11.5 sacks, I mean, I know the NFL. 11.5 sacks for a defensive end. Defensive ends are huge and major. You need a defensive end. And you need somebody that can attack, and it's not like Quinn hasn't done it before. So when you see teams that already know you've done it before, and then you bounce back and you've been relatively healthy, and we got to remember he got 11.5 sacks and he was spending the first couple games of the year.
Forgot about that. That's
You get
crazy.
what I'm saying? So you
Yeah.
spend the first couple games of the year, you still got 11.5 sacks. Them teams are going to be clamoring on him, and I just don't feel like Dallas is probably going to have a number. But when them other teams come out with that number, like, you know what? We're just going to go ahead and roll with these other guys. So I really feel like, this free agency, I think they're going to need to attack the defensive end position in the draft again. But that defensive tackle position, because we got a lot of guys that are, free agent, this and that. Do you think because this defensive tackle class is strong, and one of the guys you like that I like, which I love, is Jordan Phillips from Buffalo. That's my number one guy.
Me too.
Number one guy out of all the
Number
guys
one.
we talk about on the defensive tackle position. I targeted him from day one. I want
Yeah.
him. I want him. I want him. Because when we're talking about the draft, when they're talking about Ken Law and those guys, they have the same height and measurements, except Phillips is bigger. He's 340 freaking pounds at 6'6", had 10.5 sacks. Man, the dude was a monster, and he's young. He's
And he's
young.
young. Yes.
You
Preach.
could cut a Tyrone Crawford and save that money and say, hey, Jordan Phillips, we're the Dallas Cowboys. Come over here, because that name does speak. You get what I'm saying? That name does speak. So you got a great defensive tackle class. I think that they really should look at it. Now, I had Bobby Belt, and when I had Jeff Kavanaugh on the show, they were talking about possibly going out there and getting a free agent corner, which even though I don't think Byron Jones is coming back, there's no free agent good corners out there, dog.
No, it's a trash class, bro.
All the decent ones are old, okay?
Yet.
And the young ones, it's like, why would you spend money on him? You don't need to. That's a waste of money.
Right.
So
Right.
I think
So like
Go ahead.
some years you got to band-aid, bro. Like straight up, like, because if you don't band-aid a position or what some call it a bridge position, you end up reaching. Do you want to reach again, like for Taco, or do you want to reach again for Tristan Hill? Just because you feel like you got a need? No, you never really want to reach. Sometimes you just want to kind of band-aid it until you finally get to the class you want. You want to get to the ideal guy. You never really want to settle, because when you make these decisions in the draft, it's not 1 year decision. You made a 1 year decision that's gonna affect you 4 years minimum. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, no, man. And then with this exponentially deep defensive tack free agent class,
Gosh.
I'm so against Kinlaw from this standpoint. Even when you have the freakish measurables of a Kinlaw, our expectations get too drunk, and we start expecting them to be what they not gonna be the year 3. Because and I know you know this, but just talking to the fans that's watching, but on average, it takes defensive ends and D tackles about 3 years to really hit their pro legs. So like we really didn't even really mess up with Tristan Hill. We more so messed up selling the expectation that he was gonna be an impact player from day one.
Right. And
And
he
that's
was
what
and he wasn't because he was going to be in a rotation because they had Malik Collins and Antoine Woods. So he wasn't he was coming in as a rotational player from the very beginning because those guys were going to be starters. But I want to say something real quick. Eastside Harold, I don't want to hear that Eastside talking about Taco has the same number of sacks as your $100 million tank. I don't want to hear that, dog. Like, come on, man. Did y'all watch Taco Charlton? I'm not hating on Taco. He went over there. He did okay in Miami, but I'm tired of people trying to dog DeMarcus Lawrence, bro. Like, I'm tired of it. Like, okay, he got 5 sacks. We get it. But guess what? Everybody's talking about Khalil Mack and how dominant he was. They traded him to the Bears, right? The Raiders. Oh, that was crazy. You traded Khalil Mack. It took 1 year, and now they're talking about wanting to give him over to the Redskins for the number 2 pick. You get what I'm saying? So people forget about what you did. It don't matter. You get what I'm saying? Like, you had
yeah.
Khalil Mack, who was a dog. Everybody says he's a dog. And then look, within 1 year, they're already talking about getting rid of him in Chicago. 1 year, dog. One
Yeah,
year.
and then a lot of times we lack the big picture thinking, Big James, to be honest. And I'm not beating you up on Dwight. I think that's you. I hopefully was got your name right. But like the big picture is this: a lot of times our players suffer from front office decisions, right? So it's a whole lot of people that was mad at Zeke too, Big James. But if we really look at it, all this aggressive stalemates that front office does just to try to save them about $700,000 to $1 million. It's the players that's impacted by that. So when you got to hold out and not have surgery, and you don't really get a full training camp, that's not gonna affect you.
Right, dog. But that's
So,
people
so
ain't play. That's people ain't play sports though.
that's
Honestly,
people that play sports and they don't pay attention. That's why you got to watch this show in the
exactly.
off season. Like
Right.
too many people want to start watching football during the season.
Mm-hmm.
Now the off season, you notice from playing ball, Big James.
Mm-hmm.
When do you make your biggest gains?
Man, off
Off
season.
season
That training, dog.
at training.
And if
So
you ain't
like
training, you come in, dog.
it's
Come
too
on,
late.
man. You
It's
are
too late.
you are so far behind the curve. You are so behind because these other guys are getting into work. We're talking about a guy. These guys train year round, right? And if
Right.
they're training year round, and then you have a tank who has shoulder surgery. This is a torn labrum. This is shoulder surgery. You miss all of training camp, all of camp, no preseason games. Then you're starting week 1, and then you're supposed to come in and hit the ground running.
It
That
don't work
is
like that.
not reality, and it will never happen. It just won't,
Right.
okay?
Right. And that's why they need to listen to shows like this, because this is the same thing. This is that same thing happened with Dak in 2018. People was like, well, he got a number one. What else he need? I say, look at what Dak is still going through. He threw for 2,000 plus yards in half the season in 2018 with no offseason with his number one.
Mm-hmm.
Bro, like that's when you perfect all the details of chemistry between you and your best threat.
Mm-hmm.
He never got that. So people like me and you was like, of course they go get better. They finna have an off season.
Right.
So same thing with Tank. Tank is going instead of fighting over money this time. Now Tank will be able to work out with his boys, have a full training camp, full regimen, no surgery. You know, all of that. That's behind him. Same thing with Zeke. I'm seeing some comments about Zeke got overpaid. Listen, bro, 1,300 plus yards, and we calling that a bad year, Big James?
I think what it is, though, it's just that running back market. That's what it is, that people see the running back market and they're saying, hey, you won Super Bowls without an all-pro running back. The last all-pro running back was Marshall Faulk that won a Super Bowl. So people are looking at that. They're going to say that. I mean, in my eyes, I don't know about – I love Zeke. Let me not say that at all. I love some Zeke Elliott. But I don't know about paying him $15 million. I don't know about that. He definitely earned it as far as the way it goes. But I just feel like them running backs – break down quicker, and you know that, Marcus. You know that, dog. You know
it is.
they break down quicker, and
That's
Ezekiel
fact.
Elliott has gotten by without an injury. If he were to have a major injury, first thing people are gonna do is like $15 million.
That's actually right. They say right. But see, like, listen, man, I'm of the camp like this. I'm definitely not on you can find you a Zeke in round 3. I would drop kick you in your face. You not finding there are certain athletes that's like You can tell sometimes when you kind of rushing and you just put something together, you just throw the eggs on, throw a little salt on them, just flap them up. You hungry, you in a rush to get to the work. You just,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But then there are certain people that's like handpicked by God Himself. He takes His sweet time. He builds your thighs right. He gave Zeke this huge head, huge, massive head, to where he can just, give pain. He gave him hurdle ability, let his dad work him out, and all those great things, great school, great training, all this kind of stuff, so he can be a top four pick. Same thing with Saquon. You're not finding no Saquons or Zeke in round three. So everybody that's saying you can go find you a running back in round three that can do what Zeke is doing, I want you to actually like literally take a hammer and hit your own self in the teeth. Because it's crazy. You not go listen, if you go really look at the pace that Zeke is on career wise, he's on an all-time Jim Brown pace
Yeah.
with a 6-game suspension. So it's like, yes, is the position itself likely overpaid? Yes. But would I rather have Zeke? Yes.
Yeah, I
And
would.
as long as we got more money this year than we had in the last 8 years combined, am I complaining about what's in his pocket? No. Because as long as we still able to have a good team, why should I care? I
That's
don't care.
that's a fact. That's a fact. That's a fact, especially like you said. Yeah, he might be getting highly paid, but are we in salary cap hell? Is the Cowboys in a position where dang they can't sign nobody? No, so they're still in a good place even with signing them that money, and they can still be in a good place even after next year because the cap goes up, and it's not like they can't get rid of players to always adjust it, or they're going to do restructuring contracts. They're going to do those type of things, so you can make all that kind of stuff happen. And at the end of the day, this is all I got to say about this. Just like you said, Dallas has had triplets, and it's been very successful in their history of having triplets. So if they've been very successful in having triplets and winning Super Bowls and having winning records and getting to advancing and having great records with these triplets, then why break it up now? Why try to sit there and finagle it when you got dogs? And once again, just to me, if you spent that first-round pick on Amari Cooper, you're supposed to get at least five years out of a first round, 4 guaranteed, 1 on an option year. You only got a year and a half out of Cooper. That just doesn't make sense to me.
No,
Why
bro.
you would not keep him if you spent the first-round pick. You spent the first-round pick because you said we needed weapons. So if you needed weapons, you knew you were going to pay him. You knew you're going to have to pay this dude. When you got him over from Oakland, you knew you were going to have to pay him some big money. You knew that. So if
Right.
you knew that, there shouldn't even be any talk of the back and forth of why you won't sign him. When you knew when you plucked him over from the Raiders, he was a all-world talent. You were going to have to pay him because the contract was getting ready to come up. So don't act like you didn't know, Cowboys.
Exactly. And one more thing I'm gonna say too, man, that I get sick of all of us falling for is as long as you a Dallas Cowboy player, they're gonna find any negative trend and they're gonna make it seem as if it's the end of the world.
Mm-hmm.
And they do that because they know that negativity sells. And our brand is so big and our fan base so big, which includes our haters. Okay, because a Cowboy fan don't necessarily mean you rocking his flag behind me. You can be a Cowboy fan and a Philly fan. You can be a Cowboy fan and a Texan fan. You can be a Cowboy fan and a Tampa Bay fan. Matter of fact, we got more fans that's outside of Dallas than in Dallas. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So what they do is they create, and this comes from our own people. This comes from our own people too. And they know, like, if me and you made a pact offline and said, we finna be just negative on the Cowboys, we'll have the best show on the planet. You know what I mean?
Right.
But your character is not like that. No, it's mine. So we more so go kind of lean on truth more than what's gonna get us ratings. You know what I mean? Right. So what they do on Cooper, they say they go find a trend, all random trend. Oh, he ain't had a real 6 games. That when he's away from for some reason when he plays away from Dallas, he's not as good. Or they go to Dak in 1 year and say they ignore all the rest of the 4 years. They say, well, this year he's 8-8, and this year look at him, Dak. Even though it's a whole team of Cowboy players, Dak is not successful when he goes against winning teams. And then they still, I know you saw this one, Big James. Well, since 2017, Dak is below 500 on winning teams.
Oh
Well,
God, yes, Lord.
you saw that one. You saw
Yeah,
that.
because they ain't got nothing else to talk about, so that's what
So
they
they
do. That's what
drum
them
up
haters.
stuff.
Yeah,
They drum up stuff, and that was my whole point on Cooper, Zeke, Dak, and our fans the ones that's falling for it. I'm looking at the thread. People saying Boss Cowboy set up. You know what I'm saying? You don't know what you're talking about on Zeke. You know what I'm saying? It's like, look, man, I'm telling y'all, some of y'all falling for the spin. It's like, and they playing with our emotions. That's what they doing, and they did the same thing with Dez. What did they say on Dez? Dez can't run routes. Well, first of all, when has Dez ever been a route runner?
Yeah, he came out of
He's
college never.
still
He came out of college never running routes. He won on athletic
that
ability.
was never his game. That's like me saying, because they go do Gallup like that next, right? Gallup go be the next one. Well, Gallup really can't run routes, and me and Big James go say, we always said that.
Right.
He made his catches on tough catches.
Mm-hmm.
He not a route runner. He not go kill you like Cooper. That's not his game. That's like being mad at Shaq because he ain't got game like Kobe, or mad at Kobe because he not in the paint like Shaq. That's not their game.
Mm-hmm.
But they still Hall of Fame players. Like, and so we got to be smarter to stop falling for this stuff. It's gonna always be something negative. Like, why would I be mad at Dez, Big James, when even after playing 2 years, he still got 10 more touchdowns than Julio? What are we in this game for, to score points or yards?
Right.
You see what I'm saying? So, but it's a lot of our fans, we done bought into the media hype like Dez, well, he's not a route runner. But is there anybody in history? Like, I saw one of these guys say, you can go find you a Zeke in the second round. Go find me one second round player in the history of football. I'm going to give you 100 years to go find this player in the second round with a start like Zeke. I want you to go find me a player that you say can't run routes, but that got more touchdowns than Dez. I want you to go find me a rookie that you say suck at quarterback that got a better year than Dak Prescott as a rookie, or even a better first 4 years. But we'll lock on to any negative trend, and because the television said it, like we said earlier, Big James, we let the ears take over our eyes, and it's like, nah, bro, not with me and Big James.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I hear people when they talk about. I think a few people have jumped here. I think Dwight Davis, what's up with you, dog? People have said about Patrick Mahomes, and they're using that. Well, he went to the Super Bowl and he proved himself. You know what though? But here's the thing. Like I said before, Chiefs had weapons, dog. It's not like when people sit there and say, "Oh, he carried the team on his back and he did this." He had weapons. Who's one of the best tight ends in the game besides Kittles? Kelsey.
Thank you.
How many teams have a Tyreek Hill?
None.
How many people in Dallas Cowboys wanted Sammy Watkins? And then they have McCole Hardin. These dudes are nasty.
Nasty. Like,
that's a nasty offense, dog.
Can I add one more thing just to your point so you can keep preaching?
Add it.
Just think about this, bro. We wanted Sammy Watkins as a number one. He got him as a number three.
Number three. He's a number three. And he's even saying, I'll possibly take a pay cut just so I could stay here.
And so, like, now to your point, it's not I call it a macro or big picture look at what we working with. Like you said, oh, Mahomes is carrying them. I guarantee if you gave Dak those same weapons,
he's gonna
Dak
do
is
that.
gonna be just as good or better.
I mean, look what he did when we got Cooper. Look how his numbers. That's just the proof in the pudding.
Yep.
When he got some legitimate weapons on the outside, his numbers went from here to here. People are like, oh, he's dink and dunk Dak. Well, what does he do? He bets on himself, and then he throws for almost 5,000 yards. That's not good enough. Now, all of a sudden, he can't beat winning teams. When his record is 40-24, and in 2016, he beat a lot of winning teams. And when it was 2018, he beat winning teams. You get what I'm saying? And it wasn't just Dak Prescott. I'm not giving Dak a pass, but do we see our defense this year? Do we see the defense take a huge step back, and they don't have their coach any longer? So I think a lot of those things probably had a thing to do with it as well, as far as not winning those games. Now, was Dak Prescott perfect? No, but let's not understand that our special teams was one of the worst in the NFL. The defense could not get a turnover to save its life. Okay? one of the top missed tackling teams in the NFL, and
One
was
number
one of the top 5 teams in drop passes. Is that all Dak's
was number
fault?
one. See, you being nice. It was some things you said. Some of the top, 3 of them things you named, we was worse. We was the worst special teams on return yards. We was the worst on missed tackles, and we was the worst on drops.
So I mean, that all
So
contributes to
nice.
why we were 8-8. So we can't sit there and say that was all Dak Prescott's fault.
Oh,
So I
geez.
just don't want to hear it no more. And if they want to talk about it all day and say you don't like Dak Prescott, that's fine. But not here. I'm gonna like him. You feel me? So,
Oh yeah.
hey, let's get up off here because I'm gonna watch this All-Star game, and now we damn dog, we gonna have to do this a lot more, bruh. You hear me?
I'm ready, bro. Yeah, and see, I want to do it with you, man. Because first of all, you one of the, I say you and West Coast was one of the first to really reach out to me. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
And encourage me. Like, bro, I had no idea I would ever blog. Never. You know what I mean? I was just writing on Facebook. But Big James, y'all, he would hit me up and be like, "Hey, man,
You
I
got
really
that
respect
knowledge.
what
You
you
got
say,
that.
bro."
You got that
Yeah,
knowledge.
yeah, and like when you got a guy you respect, especially somebody like Big James, who you see, I call you a pioneer in the game because it's easy for us to kind of watch what you do, watch your templates, just reverse engineer, and then try to be like you. Yeah, that's a lot easier than being a pioneer. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
When you gotta trailblaze this thing, that's a whole lot thing. So yeah, so it's I got a lot of love for you. So I would say this before we get out of here. Partially, we go definitely do this more because the Boss Cowboy offseason 2020 guide is gonna be organically changing, and so literally within the next 2 or 3 weeks, a couple of people in that guide is gonna have different futures,
Mm-hmm.
and it's gonna be an update to that guide. And it's gonna be in there, and we go talk about it. Like we just did a surface view today, where you put up the picture that's in the guide, where we showing 30 expired contracts. That's go. I'll be changed in 2 months.
Right.
All that's gonna be changed. So we go definitely do more shows to where we can really, really get a lot of the fans involved in this organic book that's gonna continue to evolve. So I would say this: follow your boy Boss Cowboy, especially on Facebook and Twitter, but especially Facebook at Boss Cowboy Sports. And so if you got suggestions, or if you got ideas, or if you got, hey, did you consider this guy Boss Cowboy, or Big James, or Big James, make sure you get this one to Boss Cowboy. He'll reach out to me and say, hey, man, my boy said, look at this guy. And I'll look at him. Big James will look at him. If we like him, they in that guide.
Right.
And we go give you credit for it.
Right.
Because like we already, and this, I heard a statement that was funny this week, Big James. He said only the Dallas Cowboy fans is where everybody's a GM.
You ain't never
But
lying.
I love that, man, because we all take ownership of the Dallas Cowboys. And I love that about us, bro. I wouldn't want to be no other fan because we not gonna have in-depth discussions like this nowhere else but being a Dallas Cowboy fan. So with this thing that Big James and I are doing on this guide, get involved with it. Get involved, make your voice heard, and then what we do is then we'll get on here and we'll talk about it and try to amplify your voice. You know what I mean? We go try to say, we heard you on a Meek from Louisiana Tech. We heard you on this guy on how they miss tackles, and we think this, and we'll amplify your voice because that's what it's about. You know what I mean?
Right.
So yeah, and Big James, I can rock with you all day, especially when it's obvious that time get away. That means we can talk football just all day.
All day long. And it was a great talk today, dog. And people, please go to Boss Cowboy Sports. Tell them where they can find this guide because I'm telling you, I have the guide. He sent me a free copy. Thank you. I'm blessed for that. I'm telling you, and I'm not even hyping this like for real. People understand. Y'all should know me by now that I ain't gonna be hyping up somebody if it ain't there. I'm not gonna hype you, dog. I'm just not gonna do it. I just won't do it. And if you get personal about it, that's your fault. But I'm not gonna hype you. But when you send me that damn guide, that stuff is thorough, y'all. I'm trying to tell you, it's thorough. Tell them how they can find a guide, the price, all that good stuff. Because I'm telling you, folks out there, if you're Cowboys fans, you really need because it's in depth. It's in depth. I'm trying to tell you. Trends on Mike McCarthy on his draft picks, what he used to draft before. So where you can look at, I'm trying to tell y'all, He had here in this book about these trending guides about the receivers, all his draft picks. And when you see the draft picks and the players that he drafted, he's not going to look outside that box if you've been doing the same thing. So if you can look at that guy to where you trend, you can see what he's probably going to pick in this draft. That's why you need to get this draft guide. I'm telling you, it's real. I would not pump this up. I'm going to read it some more because it's going to help me because I didn't – dog, you open my eyes. I'm keeping it all the way funky. You open my eyes, especially with those drafts and how he drafted. Now I'm like, okay, he likes tackles. Okay,
he does.
He loves defensive tackles. He goes
He
after
right.
them. You know what I'm saying?
He does.
And he loves them receivers. So when you see where if he's doing that, what he's going to draft. So please, folks, go out there, tell them about that, boss, and tell them how they can find all that good stuff.
Thank you, bro. It's so like, and I just want to say one thing real quick on that. So like one trend that he talking about that I put in the book is the fact that out of the 14 first rounders under McCarthy at Green Bay, 12 was defense.
Mm-hmm.
So that tells you his tendency, right? And or the Green Bay philosophy tendency, which he still had a lot of influence on that. Don't believe he didn't, right? Mm-hmm. Then you can look at the fact that his best weapons came in round 2 and round 3. So that's what Big James is talking about. So you'll get all that information if you go to Amazon, right? And that's where you'll find a book. And under the search bar, just put this Boss Space Cowboy 2020, hit enter. And then the first book that's going to pop up is going to be the Boss Cowboy Off-Season Guide to Free Agents and Drafts. So the reason why I'm doing definitely more shows also with Big James is because we using this information to be better at podcasting about what's getting ready to happen.
Exactly.
Like, why the hell would we spend 90% of our time talking about the draft when literally we got 7 draft picks and 30 expired contracts? We should be talking about free agents actually this year more than the draft.
Yes.
So
because that's the draft before the draft. Because free
agency
agency happens before the draft. And that free agency is going to dictate how you draft. Okay?
Thank you.
That's why when everybody's talking about these players, that's why, dog, I don't do these 25,482 mock drafts, okay? 700 mock drafts before, man, you know why they do it? I'm going to tell you why, boss. They do these mock drafts because they want to feel like they're smarter than everybody else. That's why they do these mock drafts, dog. That's the only reason why they do them. I don't give a hell what anybody freaking tells me. They do these mock drafts because they want to look smarter than everybody else. And that's why they start them in freaking December. Oh, my first of my 20 mock drafts. Dude, it's December, bruh. How are you going to get a beat on who's getting drafted in April in December? Come on.
Impossible. Impossible. Perfectly stated. Because, like, if we go get my boy Phillips and your boy Phillips, do we need to get Kinlaw?
No, you don't have to. Now you can wait until like a third round or something like that and grab another defensive tackle because you got a young dog right now.
So if we go get, let's say, the safety for the Raiders, you better at names than me.
Carl Joseph.
I love you, brother. Carl Joseph. Do we have to now go draft Dill Pitt?
You don't have to. You can, but you don't have to because now you can maneuver. Now you have a little leeway.
So what we doing in this process is, to Big James' point, is we bringing common sense to this off season, and we not gonna let people that follow us fall for the okie doke of, like he say, people patting themselves on the back. I feel like Dallas is gonna pick at 17. How do you don't
be
know?
Hella wrong.
Super wrong.
Dog,
and it's like
hella wrong.
And I'm gonna say this, Big James. I learned this from you a long time ago, and this is the God honest truth. I want everybody to write this down. These analysts don't know more than you about your team.
Exactly.
They don't. They got to study 30. So if you have to watch one egg all day, you're going to know every inch of that freaking egg. But if you got to watch and talk about 32 different eggs, you're going to know this egg a little bit. You're going to know this egg a little bit. No, Big James and Boss Cowboy, we look at one egg all day, the Dallas Cowboys. And so do you. So all of us that's just getting information from analysts, that's on the NFL Network, and I'm not knocking them like Big
No,
James always say.
nobody.
We
Yeah,
not
we ain't
knocking
hating
them,
them, but
but
it's the
what we
truth.
saying is like we gotta purify where we get our information because I've been knowing Big James. That's what I know Big James so much. I'd be like, bro, I just name a team and I say he got a good memory because I've been watching him for years. I watched him in training camp. He went down every receiver, and most of them was pretty brand new. And that's Javay Johnson. He knew the numbers. He knew. I said, boy, this boy, his brain like,
Mm,
you know,
mm.
like when I said that boy cold with names, and I'm not really good with names. I'm good with the numbers and the faces. But anyway, I'm just saying the bigger picture is that's why you want to get the guide and participate in the guide because it's going to change, and as it change we go talk about it, and it's going to cause a habit of us all being better intelligent fans. And when you an intelligent fan, Jerry and them can't play no games on you.
Right.
They can't throw out these old false numbers and then we just get emotional. We could be like, nah, why would you do that? Because we now smarter and we got smarter together. So yeah, so basically Amazon, Boss Cowboy, 2020, and it's gonna pull right up. And I promise you, James, we gonna do this more. I
For sure.
promise you.
Yeah, for sure. Because this
You
is.
know, I'm gonna let you get past some of your busy periods, but
Yeah, yeah.
I know how I get, bro. I get it. Especially breaking news. I might not see you for 2 weeks. I know how it go. I'm in it now. I get it. Like
You
at first I
know.
was be like, "Oh, Big James, hit me in a
Yeah,
minute."
yeah,
Hit
yeah,
him.
yeah.
No,
You already know what it
going
is.
down.
Yeah,
My boy busy. He
you know it.
making new moves. He making new moves with law. That's a lot of organic energy that y'all got to get to kind of synergize. I respect your game a whole lot more actually being in the game. You know how it go.
Yeah,
It's easy to talk it until you get in.
exactly. That's why I was saying. I had my little young homie on here. He's a boxer, and I told him that when I used to my cousin, he has his own boxing facility, and I used to train with him back in the day. And it was funny. I had a newfound respect for boxers because on the outside looking in, you be watching him. You look fifth, sixth round. You're like, why is this dude holding, fight, stop holding and punch? Then I actually had to go in the ring and train, and I actually did I did 3 rounds, and that first round felt like a million years. Okay. And I was banging with my cousin, and my cousin knows what he's doing. Okay, now I can fight, but he knows what he's doing, and so I'm looking at the clock at the corner of my eye, like, damn, dude, it's 2 minutes, it's 2 minutes and 10 seconds left. Let's hurry up and I'm tired. Okay, I'm tired. This shit hurts. This don't feel good. I respect you guys. I will not talk about you motherfuckers no more, bruh. Until you get in it, you talk that trash, and then you step your foot in that bear and that lion, then you like, okay, all right, you know what? I respect you, dog. I'm sorry.
Yeah, and so let me try to give because I'm looking at this right now as a book tour. And first of all, thank you, Big James, because you the first. You the first on the tour to open this up to your group. And I take that very serious, bro, and I really appreciate that because really your group is almost like your flock. I consider it like you're a pastor to a degree. You know what I mean? Where you look after them, and I understand it. You don't want bad information to people that you've been trying to educate and talk ball with for years. So for you to even bring me on first, bro, I appreciate that.
For sure.
So this week is you first. Then I supposed to potentially maybe do Will tomorrow. He gave me a tentative schedule. Then West Coast is Tuesday, and I'm scheduling something with potentially Mark Holmes on Friday.
Nice.
I reached out to Vach, no response yet, but I know he gonna respond. I really don't have a relationship with him, so if you know him, say your boy Boss Cowboy cool.
I got
You know what I mean?
I got you.
Yeah, and I appreciate that because I don't know him. You know how it go. Cass will reach out to you, be like, "Who are you?" You know what I mean?
Exactly.
And I ain't, and you know I ain't up to nothing. You know what I'm saying? But anyway. So I reached out to him because I'm really trying to really expand this guy. And one of the biggest compliments, bro, and that's why I respect you 1,000,000%, is because when some people hit you up and say, bro, this is fire, you pretty much almost have a mama I made it moment. Because I know Big James not gonna, if I wrote a whole freaking book, right? And you send it to your partner, if it's whack, Big James would be like, it's all right.
Dog.
But 2 hours after I sent my boy the book, my boy say, bruh, he hit me up.
That shit
Man,
flame.
this is depth.
That shit was flame, dog. Like,
Yeah.
and I ain't gonna lie, when you sent it to me, And not that I was ever doubting, but you know how it is. Just like if I send you something, you still gonna be like, let me see what this is about. You know,
True.
let me see what this is about first. You feel me?
No,
Like
man, my
just like
boy West Coast said the same thing,
let
bro.
me
West
see what
Coast
this is
told me
about
this.
before I get to hyping you up. Let me read it
Right.
first. Let me
Yep.
read it. Let me
Right.
look
That's
at it
why I
before I
wanted you to
say
read it
anything
first.
because my son's a rapper, and I said, let me hear some lyrics first, dog, before I post you on my Facebook. Because if you trash, you're not getting posted on my Facebook, and I don't care if you're my son.
Amen, bro. So when I got that DM from you and you said, "Boss," it's almost like when you cook something and you try to wait to see if it's really good. You get the worst judge in the building and you say feed him. If he like it, everybody gonna like it. I was
Exactly.
sitting back waiting to see how my boss. He said, "Boss, boy, this good. I'm finna sit back and kick my feet up and you know what I'm saying,
I told you. You
and
know what I'm
really get
saying?
it."
I'm about to go
Yeah,
in. I'm going in.
go
And
get
I'm
it. You
going to
know?
go in some more tonight, too, dog. Like, it's that good. Like, for real, y'all. I'm like, y'all really need to go support this. This shit is good. It's fire. It's flame. I'm an information guy. I love to read. I love to write, and I love to read, and I love to read information. I am an information person. I need information all the time. I love it. I need more and more of it. And that right there is flame. So please go listen to his channel, support his channel, like his channel, and then whenever you see Boss Cowboys, give him some love, man. The dude is nice. Like I said, we formed a relationship like 4 or 5 years ago, and it's just grown. And it's just good to see how when we met, how you weren't doing anything, and now to see you now, it's dope, dog. It's a
It
beautiful
is.
thing. It's a
It
beautiful
is
thing, and it's good to see it grow. And we're all in this together. We're all in this trying to make this thing
together
great. So
for
there ain't
six.
no look at him doing good. I'm gonna let me throw some shade on him. No, this is
Not
all about building and growing. That's
building,
why we
trying to get
have
to
these.
six.
This is trying to get to six and building and growing our networks, and that's why you guys that are listening in this feed, y'all need to support us. When we sit there and tell you, like when I put on there, donate. Like I said, I ain't this sitting there trying to be greedy or anything like that. But we in this as a profession. Okay,
Right.
I went to school for this. Okay,
School.
I went to numerous things to get in this field, and this is a profession. So we are trying to make this thing grow. And like you said, there's those guys at NFL Network, this and this and this. Man, listen, I understand those guys that play football, but some of them dudes ain't even play football. Some of them dudes ain't even play sports. And y'all be
Right.
listening to them and saying, yeah, I like this. Like Daniel Jeremiah, he's good, but has he ever played any football or anything? You know what I'm saying? Some of these
Exactly.
people, you get what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
y'all need
Can
to
I?
really listen to what we're doing here because it's the unorganic, authentic truth.
Facts. And I want to say one more thing before we cut out. I also want the critical thought. I want because it's gonna be something you gonna eventually read in a big change. You gonna be like, I don't know about that. I want you to tell me, and I want you to, you know what I'm saying, tell me straight up. This is why. Because me and Big James not in this to look good. The very first thing I put in there, this is not about me trying to be smart.
Right.
This is more so about if there's something wrong in here, let me know so that we can change it together. You know what I mean? So Big James love the first part. He might get to the middle and be like, you know what I mean?
Right.
So it goes both ways. It's not about just patting me on the back and patting him on the back. It's also about saying, boss, I don't think you're right on that. I think this guy's better than what you think, or I think this guy's not as good, whatever. But just it's the going through the process together.
Mm-hmm. It's a beautiful thing, man. Well, hey, if y'all ain't watching the All-Star game, if you will watching the All-Star game, number one, I'm going to appreciate you because the All-Star game started like an hour ago and you guys were still in the feed, and I really love that. So I always love giving a shout-out to everybody who was in the feed. Thank you for the great talk. Eastside Herald, Dwight Davis, Loons, Angel Rodriguez gave a lot of great talk. Appreciate you, big dog. Tavis Banks was in there, Torres Carson, 43 Flex. Just a lot of you guys that were in here, really appreciate it. I'm sorry if I didn't give a shout out to everybody, but I always love the comments, the great knowledge from the people in there, and we just appreciate you. And please go support Boss Cowboy Sports, and please continue to support Silver and Blue Nation Big Game James so we can make this thing great. That's what we're trying to do. We're just trying to make this thing great, y'all, and try to have so you don't always have to go over there and listen to the mumbo jumbo on them big networks. Come on down here. And number one, why you should come down here and listen to this, because you don't have a voice over there. When you watch NFL Network, when you're watching all the other stuff, they don't give a hell about you. They don't give a hell about your voice, and they don't give a hell about your comments or anything you have to say. And even if we get on that level where we're doing this, I'm still going to be having this where other people are going to be able to speak, because I remember when I wanted to have a voice. I remember when I wanted to have a voice, because I was like, these dudes on TV are saying the same shit I'm saying. I said it a week before they did. So you know what? I'm going to go do this as my profession, because I know too. So you guys have a voice, and this is where your voice can be heard. So that's why you need to support us like no other, so you guys can continue to have a voice, because we have a voice. And if we have a voice, we're always going to give you a voice, and that's just the truth. All right, so we'll be talking to you guys. Silver and Blue Nation, Big Game James, Boss Cowboy Sports. We out. Enjoy the All-Star game, and we're going to be talking to you soon. And go out there and cop that book, man. It's the truth. All right? Peace. Deuces. We out.